everyone, I'm Mariana and welcome back to my channel. And for those of you who are new here, welcome to my channel. So today I'm doing another all about video, and it's gonna be kind of all encompassing of a couple of different things. Basically, this is all about contouring, okay, contouring the face. So I am including highlighting, bronzing, and blushing in this video. So I'm going to be using some concealer, some powders, some setting powders. We're doing a lot of stuff today, so I don't know how long the video is going to be. Just bear with me if you're interested. I'll try to break it up into smaller sections. I don't know, I'm kind of just going to do it in the order that I would normally do my makeup. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So after you have primed, you have color corrected, and you have put your foundation on, which I did today, I used the NYX Angel Veil primer to prime my skin. I used the Bella Pierre Pro concealer palette to color correct, and I used the Rimmel Stay Matte Liquid Mousse foundation in the shade True Beige. So that is all done on my face. So the next step I'm going to take is essentially highlighting the face. So in order to create some depth, I've just covered my entire face with one color. So I want to create some depth to my face. And how we're going to do that is using concealer. So I guess I almost always use my e.l.f. HD Lifting Concealer in the shade Light. But I kind of want to switch it up today and use my Tarte Rainforest of the Sea concealer. This is in the shade Medium Sand. I believe this retails for like $26 or somewhere around that range, whereas the e.l.f. one is about $3. So huge difference in the price, but both are very good. I got this one on sale for $13, which is the only reason I picked it up, but I do really like it. Anyway, the areas where you want to put your concealer are the areas where you want to highlight your face. And the concealer shade that you use should be about one shade, maybe two shades, probably one shade's good enough. One shade lighter than your regular skin tone. So this concealer is not my skin tone, it's a little bit lighter because we're using it to highlight. So let me just get my mirror here. I like to highlight in the T-zone here, down the bridge of my nose, a little on my chin. I'll dip back in and get up under my eyes here. And this is going to help conceal any like darkness I have under my eyes, any spots I have on my face, and just overall brighten the center of my face so that it gives it a little bit more depth. And I'm just going to tap that out with this generic beauty sponge that I don't remember the brand. Ugh, I've had such a hard time covering up this spot on my forehead, but the next step that you're going to want to take is setting the concealer that you put down, because you don't want it to move around. I would also suggest using a setting powder that is a little bit lighter than your skin tone, or a translucent powder. The one I'm going to be using today is in my project pan. This is a Sephora Quad from last year's holiday, some kind of holiday edition, I don't know, but basically it's not available anymore, so I can't recommend it to you. But I'm gonna use the banana shade. There's a banana shade and a pink shade. I want to use the banana shade today, but since I can't recommend this to you, you can't get it anymore. There's also the Bare Minerals Invisible Light powder. This is supposed to be translucent, so it shouldn't come up white on your face, but if you have a darker skin tone, this might not work for you. But this is the only other permanent item that I have in my collection right now that I can recommend to you. They're not bad, but they may not work on darker skin tones. I would just suggest finding like a good drugstore loose powder, or even a pressed powder that's either a banana shade or a pinkish type of shade. If you can't find translucent. If you can't find any of those, just pick up a regular face powder that is slightly lighter than your skin tone, just to highlight underneath your eyes and in your T-zone area. So I'm going to take that onto this Wet n Wild tapered setting brush, and I'm going to go into this yellow shade here and just get right up underneath my eyes, because you don't want your under eyes to crease and like look all gross. Like, I like to set my smile lines, that way I can go about my day laughing and enjoying, having a good old time, and I don't have to worry about my foundation like bunching up into these little lines here. And the next step to take is going to be bronzing. So with your bronzing, you have a couple of options. You can do cream contouring. I do have a cream contouring kit actually. It's from Stila, but I've never even opened it. It's called the Shape and Shade Custom Contour Duo. But I'm not even gonna open this right now. I don't know why I'm talking about that. So you could cream contour. There are a lot of cream contouring sticks. You can even use like a concealer stick that's a little bit darker than your skin tone. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna chisel out the jawbone area, make it look a little bit more defined, and just kind of overall bronze the edges of the face, more so around here and like the parts where it's going to be shaded. And to contour my nose, I'm going to use this e.l.f. concealer stick in the shade Tan. It's a little bit dark for my skin. I don't like to use it to contour my face, but I can definitely use it to contour my nose. So I'm just going down the sides of my nose here and putting that color there to give my nose a little bit more of a pointed shape. I'm gonna go back into this same palette and use one of the contouring shades. I want to use Lovely. It's a little bit more of a warm tone bronzer. And I'm gonna take my Real Techniques 301 brush. I believe this is the contouring brush. And I'm just gonna go into this shade. Just tap it a little bit. I'm gonna lay the color down right underneath my cheekbones. So my cheekbone starts about right here. This is like the bottom of my cheekbone. So I'm gonna lay the contour right up underneath that. And I'm not gonna bring it too far into my cheek area. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. So my cheekbone starts about right here. This is the tops of my cheekbone, this is the bottom. And I'm just gonna tap that on and then kind of blend it out with my brush. And I don't wanna blend too far down, I kinda wanna blend upwards. That way I don't look like I have a 5 o'clock shadow. And it doesn't have to be a straight line. You can kind of curve it around your cheekbone. We're all gonna have different faces, so I can't tell you exactly how to do your face. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of that same color here, the warm tone color. And I have more of a warm skin tone naturally anyway. Oh my gosh, I put way too much right here. Well, it doesn't look so bad like in the light, but I definitely put way too much bronzer on. And I think I'm gonna go back into the same exact shade but with a fluffier face brush. And just, this is gonna give you more of an overall bronze as opposed to a contour. And you can be a little bit more loose with it because it's a fluffier brush, it'll blend better. Versus the Real Techniques brush that I was using, which is a little bit more densely packed. But anyway, so you can also go up underneath your jawbone here and bronze down into the neck if you're feeling pale. You can also skip this step. You can really skip any of these steps, but of all the steps to skip, I skip this one the most. I don't bronze a whole lot. Another nice contouring palette to use if you have a medium to fair skin tone is the e.l.f. Beautifully Bare Total Face palette. This palette is definitely suited for lighter skin tones, but I can kind of use the bronzer here a little bit if I'm not going for too like crazy of a contour. But the blush shades are really nice, and the highlighting shade is pretty decent. That didn't swatch well, but the highlighting shade is pretty decent. e.l.f. also has a contouring palette that is more suitable for dark. It's called, I think it's Deep. But e.l.f. does have another contouring palette, one for light to medium skin tones and one for like medium to dark skin tones. I don't know if it'll work for super deep skin tones, but I've heard a lot of people raving about that palette, and I think it's like $6 or $8. Now there's a higher end option, which is the Kat Von D shade and light contour palette or something like that, and I think it's about $40 or $50. And then there's like the Chocolate Soleil bronzer from Too Faced. There's all types of different bronzers. The Physicians Formula butter bronzers I heard are really good, but none of these, I don't have a whole lot of options for darker skin tones, which is kind of unfortunate. I know Fenty Beauty has contour sticks. I don't have one of the contour sticks, but they look like this. They're in Ulta for $25 each, and they have something for every skin tone. Now that I've bronzed my face, I want to blush and highlight. Blush is also one of those steps that you can skip. I skip it often, but not as often as I skip bronzer. One of my favorite blushes to use is the Tarte Amazonian Clay blush. This one is in the shade Party. I received it for free for my birthday. I think we all got this if you're a Sephora Beauty Insider. I didn't think it was gonna work for my skin, but it does. There are also a couple of nice blush shades in the e.l.f. palette that I just talked about. I like a nice peachy or muted blush. Some people are really bold with the pinks, and that if that's your wave, then you do that. But all I'm gonna do is show you how to apply the blush. And I think I should use a darker blush so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. So this is also in my project pan from the same Sephora collection, but it's the highlighting and blush quad. I always use Coquet. I'm working on Coquet right now. I'll use that. And I'm going in with my Wet n Wild blush brush. This blush brush is really densely packed. Most blush brushes that I have used are a little bit looser than this, but I kind of prefer the densely packed one because I feel like I can get a little bit more precise with my application. So I'm just going to go into this brown shade here, tap off the excess, and basically where you're going to apply your blush, the best place to apply your blush, oh my gosh, I cannot say anything, is on the apples of your cheeks and then sweeping it backwards. So if you smile, then you kind of apply it to where your cheeks pop out. So that's where you're gonna apply the majority of your blush, and then you can kind of sweep it out if you want to. Or you could just keep it concentrated right here and call it a day. This blush is kind of subtle, so you may not be able to see everything that I'm doing. So I'm gonna go into this slightly pinker shade called Beauty. And just kind of tap that onto my cheeks as well and sweep it outwards. Okay, so now that we bronzed and blushed, I like to do highlighter last. There are a couple great highlighters out there, a lot of great highlighters. This is one of the first highlighters I ever got, and it's definitely still one of my favorites. This is the Coloupop Super Shock Cheek highlighter in the shade Flexitarian. I'm also including this into my project pan. This highlighter is like just blinding. You put this on your cheeks, they will see you from a mile away, I promise you. I'm not going to use this today, I don't think, but this is a great option, and they have a lot of different colors to suit different skin tones, so look up Coloupop. They also have some pressed they also have some pressed highlighters if you're not interested in the Super Shock formula. The Super Shock formula is almost like a cream to powder kind of thing. It's not a complete cream. It has a powder finish to it, but it's definitely wet when you touch it and kind of squishy. But yeah, these last forever. They're $8 and they always have sales. Okay, this one I received in a BoxyCharm. This is a Becca Skin Perfecting highlighter in the shade Prosecco Pop. I think it's now called Champagne Pop or something like that. But this highlighter is $38. It is perfect. It's beautiful. I love it. It gives more of a sheen. It's not nearly as blinding as the Colourpop one, but it's also a gold color, so I like this color for my skin tone since I am a little bit more yellow. So yeah, the formula on this one is fantastic. It's $38 though, so that's out of a lot of people's price ranges. If that's not out of your price range, I definitely recommend these. Something that is similar to that same formula though, that is from the drugstore, is my e.l.f. HD, I don't know what this is called. The e.l.f. Highlighting HD Powder, and this is in the shade Starlight Glow. This is one of the first ones that they released. The formula is extremely similar, and the sheen to it is, like, the effect that you get from this highlighter is very similar to the effect that you get from the Becca one. It's just more of a sheen, not a whole lot of glitter. It's not too blinding, just like super beautiful on the skin. It's $6 versus $38. That's pretty darn good. And they've come out with a lot more colors since this one came out. And the last highlighter I want to recommend to you is the Fenty Beauty Killawatt highlighters. This is a split pan, so I enjoy that this is a split pan for $34 because you get two shades to play with, and they're both gorgeous. They have a huge they have about 5 or 6 different split pan ones, and then I think I think they have about 4 of the split pans, 2 of the like full pans. Neither of the full pans really work for my skin tone, but for darker skin tones, I think the Trophy Wife would look great if you like a really blinding gold highlight. But this one is in the shade Mean Money and Hustler Baby. Hustler Baby is probably my favorite one. I'll give that a swatch. It's also kind of a peachy gold, and then this one is Mean Money. It's a little bit more of a sheen to it, like the other highlighters I talked about. So I'm deciding whether I want to use the Becca or the Fenty today. You know, I haven't used my Fenty in a while. I think I'm going to use the Fenty. And to apply it, I'm going to use the tapered highlighting brush from Wet n Wild. These are all from their Pro brush set. Anything with this like shiny handle. I think their new ones are rose gold, but I got this one in the holiday set anyway. So I'm going to go in with Mean Money first, and that's kind of the more subdued one, and it's really subtle. But then I'm gonna go into Hustler Baby and give it that sparkle that I so love. Oh yes, that is what I'm looking for. And basically I'm just applying this to the tops of my cheekbone and kind of bringing it up into the temple. That is where I like to place my highlight. I also like to put a little bit on my nose, and I also like to highlight my Cupid's bow. So now I look nice and healthy and all the way contoured, highlighted, blushed, bronzed, all of that. And yeah, that completes this video. If there's something that you do that I don't do, I'm curious to know actually. I'm always looking for new techniques. If you apply your blush a little bit differently. I know my mom doesn't use bronzer. I know she only uses blush, and she pretty much uses it to bronze and blush all in one. I like that technique too. You know, just kind of let me know what kind of stuff that you like to do with your makeup, because I'm just one person. I just have my own opinions. You know, I'm no expert. I'm not a makeup artist. I just really enjoy makeup. So please feel free to leave a comment below. We can start a little makeup discussion. I would really enjoy that. Please thumbs up this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It's awesome over here, and just join the fam. It's great. You won't regret it, I promise. But yeah, I hope to see you all next time. Bye.